Hey guys! Thanks for joining us for week 2.
Video 2.
Yeah, we're just so excited that you guys could join us for this video series. And yeah, so this week we wanted to just share a little bit with you about our training and just the experience that was, some of the highlights, and give you guys some information if you know someone or you yourself might be interested in some of the training that we received. So yeah, let's jump right in. So for those of you who don't know, Ethnos 360, they have 2 years of Bible and then 2 years of missionary training. So the first 2 years, their Bible school, um, it's just a really cool time for just really deepening your relationship with the Lord. It it's a unique school in that they go systematically, chronologically through the whole Bible. Every single book of the Bible is hit, and yeah, it's just such a cool and unique experience in that way. And they also teach other classes like bibliology, study of the Bible and how we get it, hermeneutics, how to study the Bible, anthropology, and many other things like that, theology, family relationships, the church and missions. Yeah, just other sort of general broad subjects like those. Um, and for those of you who are thinking, well, I mean, I'm too old for this. Well, so Lizzie's friend, probably one of her best friends from Bible school, she was in her 40s. And there was another lady in the grade below us who was in her 70s, I think.
Yeah, and families come through with their kiddos and high school students just coming out who might want a gap year and are interested in just getting really solid foundation in God's Word. They come through there too, so there's a huge broad spectrum of people that come through.
Many people not even interested in missions go to the school, and just to get a solid foundation in God's Word. Yeah, so some of our personal takeaways that we had during this time was really just seeing the Bible as one story, and as seeing it as God's love letter to us. It's just so easy, at least in my brain, beforehand, it was like you have all these stories in the Bible, but there wasn't really a thread that you could really follow. And you sort of knew the general outline, but it wasn't really one cohesive message. And
well, even like, so this is what I was thinking too, like books like the prophets, that maybe you've read through them once, but just being able to go through the Bible, sequentially like that and see how they all fit together, even in those books that you may not read very often, was super impactful. Just going like, wow, these books that I've hardly even studied are so impactful to the rest of God's Word was, yeah, definitely a huge part.
Another big takeaway for us was just being able to handle God's Word and just for personal study, but then also when talking with someone and just being able to understand what they're talking about when they bring a new idea to us. And yeah, just being able to wrestle with God's Word ourselves. And then another just huge thing was just the friendships that we built. Yeah, some of our close friends, they just headed out overseas this past week. So yeah, we're really excited for them. And yeah, we're just, it's just so cool to have people who are so like-minded in one area. You don't really get that many places where you go. So yeah, that was just such a cool experience for us. And then I'll pass it over to Lizzie for some of the girlier stuff.
No, but one other thing I wanted to mention about the Bible school as well is before COVID hit, they started to put a few of their classes online. And I don't know how many classes they exactly have. I know, here I wrote a couple down. They have Psalms, I think, evangelism, bibliology, biblical foundation. So those are a couple that they have, but just really cool. Even if you can't get the entire course load, but you might be interested in taking a class or two, just getting a little bit more study in those specific areas, those might be a really good option as well. So we just want to make you guys aware of that.
Yep.
But no, the girlier things Joe was referring to, we wanted to share a little bit about how we met, because we met during our time in Bible school. And I figured if he was talking about it, it would just be we met in Bible school. And I thought a few of you might actually like to know, when we met, how we got together. So Gerald and I were in the same class for 2 years. And so we obviously had seen each other around the school, things like that. I'll try and keep it short. But just kind of ran in different friend groups and things like that. I knew he was super smart because I'm not a huge question asker in class. If something makes sense, I'm like, that makes sense. If it doesn't, maybe I'll ask a question, but just always asking questions outside the box. And I was like, I better write this down because I had never even thought about that. And I knew he was funny. He was always around school making someone laugh, but otherwise didn't know that much about him. And we didn't know we were on the same page for missions either, because when I was in Bible school for part of the time, as I explained in the earlier video, I was planning on just doing local missions. So obviously that wouldn't have been a good match for one of us to want to go overseas and the other not. But towards the end of our 2 years, the seniors take, 1 or 2 trips depending on what you want to do, but they visit both the missionary training centers, because there's actually one in Missouri where we ended up going and one up in Canada. So I wasn't even supposed to be on those trips. I was supposed to have work, and my employer said, no, this is a big life choice for you. We'll find a way to get you off. And so when I went down to the one in Missouri, Gerald and I just started hanging out a little bit, realized we were on the same page with missions, and just started learning a lot about each other, really connected. So we got back, we had like a couple months left of our time in school, which was funny, but just started to hang out, started dating, did long distance over the summer. And then when we entered the missionary training in the fall of 2017, we were in the same class again, which was great. And then we got engaged that semester. So just briefly how we met and things like that, but really cool to be able to have similar understanding even of God's word, like knowing the school that we went through, and just, I don't know, it was just awesome to be able to have a spouse that was on the same page, and we could talk about things even happening in classes and go, okay, I know exactly where you're landing on that, or whatever. Was really neat. But so let's jump into the missionary training that we took in Missouri. I would say, so it's less Bible study and more Bible application and approaching missions, if that makes sense. So it's just, our time there is very hands-on practical training. And so I wrote down a few of the classes that we took there. There were so many, but just a few of the key ones. So there's like worldviews, animism. We took a tech course just teaching us how to work with solar panels and setting up our electrical system and water system and things like that, because if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you have to build your house, you've got to know how to do all that stuff. So we had that. We had language courses like phonetics, the study of speech sounds, and phonemics, how other people groups view what they're saying in their speech. Culture and language acquisition classes for when we move overseas and we have to learn how to adapt in a new culture and language. Missions methodology, especially with Ethnos 360. And we also had courses. One was simple living, where we had to live out in the woods and we built our own home and had a plastic wrapped home out there, built our own structure, which was fun. It rained a lot and was very soggy. But that was unique, just getting time to practice team building exercises. We had a small team, and learn things like, what was I saying earlier? Planing wood? What's the term for that?
Lumbering.
Lumbering, learning how to lumber wood and
butcher animals.
Yeah, we had to butcher a pig and chickens while we were out there, so lots of practical things. We also had a set of mentors that we would meet with every week, and they are home in the States. They used to be on the field, and so just being able to meet with them and hear personal experience was really cool. And then one thing the Missionary Training Center does is they also offer 2 additional courses. One is an advanced tech course, and one is the linguistics course, which is what Gerald took. So we actually graduated last spring, and then Gerald stayed on to do that, and we finished this past fall. So that's why we're back in Ohio. That's a little bit just about the training there, and we just wanted to share some of our takeaways from the training there as well. So I think for us, one of the major things, the overarching thing for us, was just being more equipped for the specific area of missions that we're moving into. As far as working with unreached people groups and
Yeah.
seeing a mature church planted, you know.
It's easy to have the idea, I want to go plant a church, but how are you going to do it? Like, what are the steps involved, and how do you actually do it well? Because we believe that Christ wants things done well. He doesn't want things done half done.
Yeah, and even just understanding Ethnos 360's methodology and the understanding of the time and energy and commitment it's going to take to get this job done well is a reality that we really needed to be aware of and understand the commitment that we're walking into. But yeah, I mean, there's still so much that we're going to have to learn along the way, trial and error. But just to have a clear picture of where we're going, we're just so grateful for all the teachers and time that they poured in to help us to understand these things and prepare us for the life that's ahead. So yeah, we're excited to see where the Lord's going to be able to use this training to impact others.
Yeah, and we hope that you guys join us next week as we tackle Ethnos 360 and just the organization as a whole. And yeah, we're just really excited to continue this video series with you all.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Bye.
See ya.